What's up, Lowhounds? It's Koopa here. I'm inside the Soulbound Studios booth. I'm here with Jeremy Walsh, the creative director behind Chronicles of Elyria. You're kind of blowing me away with some of the details you're giving me. This is an MMORPG featuring permadeath, families, and offline playable characters.
That's correct, yeah, all that's true. This game's been in development for quite a while, and ultimately the process we've taken for this game is just to think about what's happening with the current marketplace with respect to MMOs, take a deep look at kind of some of the problems that exist with MMOs today, as well as the type of players that we often see now, whether or not they're solo players, or a small group of friends or family that want to play together, or large guilds that are interested in playing together. And we took those and we kind of combined them, and over the last couple of years of designing this game, we've come up with what we think are solutions to a lot of the problems that exist in what some are kind of feeling is like a stale marketplace. And what we have today is Chronicles of Elyria, and we tell people the best way to describe this game is just think about what they can for existing MMOs and kind of flip everything upside down, and that's kind of the game that we're creating. And so in Chronicles of Elyria, from the moment you create your character, they start at about age 15. They will age, and after about one real life year, after about 12 months, your character will age and they'll eventually die of old age. So
there's no stopping that. Your character will die.
That's one of those lore mechanic things where, in a world where there's this kind of idea that our business model is partly tied to our idea of aging and dying. We don't have a subscription. What we do is that when you create a character and they have that 12-month period of time to live, knowing that they're going to die after that 12-month period of time, you're going to have to actually buy a new, what we call Spark of Life. And that allows you to take the character's soul, which is their renewable part of that character that lives on life after life. You buy a new Spark of Life, and that lets you take that soul and create a new character from that. But given that, that's kind of the business model is buying these souls. But if you're in a game world where your character is going to eventually grow old and die, what is it you would be looking for? You'd be looking for an opportunity for immortality, wouldn't you? And so that's kind of where this is the lore is that there are rumors, allegedly, that items and rituals exist to allow people to live forever. And let's say, hypothetically, you could become a lich in this game and live forever so long as your phylactery is protected. If someone were to destroy that phylactery, it'd be permadeath because your soul was gone, you were already dead. And it might be that the process of becoming this requires you to take the life of other people. And so that, whether or not they're sacrificial or not, we still find a way to ultimately make up the money. But that doesn't mean that once you become a lich, you couldn't be a lich for the full 10 years and really do live for the full 10 years of the story that we're developing and not have to pay again. And then you would literally have spent $30 for a Spark of Life and got to live virtually forever.
So how do families fit into that dynamics if the characters you create out of the family union actually become playable characters?
So in Chronicles of Elyria, the family is a first-class citizen for us. Families fill that hole that guilds supply in a lot of games. So from the moment you create your character, you become part of either a player or an NPC-run family. And that allows you to start out with a little bit of wealth and resources. You get a house that your family owns. They provide you with your starter kits and your resources and your first map that you're going to use to explore the world. And of course, there's an incentive for you to be in their family because all the family really benefits from each other's wealth and contribution to the family coffers.
The offline playable characters, so that's simply saying that, I log off for the day or the week or whatever, but my character never disappears out of the world. How does the character stay and persist and be perceived by others?
So, in Chronicles of Elyria, you've got about a year to live, and that works fine, but people want to feel like they're getting their money's worth and that they're able to enjoy that full year of time. And they don't want, if they're going to be offline a lot because they have work or other responsibilities, they don't want to feel like that year passed them by and they didn't get a chance to play much. So we developed this offline player character system primarily to cater to what we feel like is the target audience for this game, which is people in their mid to late 20s, 30s, and 40s, because there's a lot of mechanics in this game that cater to an older audience a little bit better. It's not an equitable world. There are people that are kings and dukes and counts, and they have significant money and resources, and there are other who are lowly peasants. And we find that the older audience tends to see that for what it is. It's an opportunity for really good storytelling and the opportunity for them to do something that is really personal to them, whereas the younger audience we found, they view it as more a competitive thing and they don't like the inequality as much. But what we wanted to do then, since we're catering to that older audience, is we wanted to make them feel like even if they weren't online all the time, that they were able to still do stuff. And that's what this OPC system or offline player character system is about, which is you can go to our marketplace, which has this idea of roles like guard or merchant or other things like that, and you can kind of equip them when you sign off. And that way your character continues to do stuff for your benefit while you're not online. But it's also something that can be customized. So if you have the skill and the interest, or if you know people who do, you can customize that and you can program it and script it. And we do want to have a visual system at some point. but for the time being, it's just programmed. It's important to note that this offline player character system is the same scripting behavior we use for the game's character NPC AI. And we do that to make sure that if there's something that we want to do, that there's a good strong chance that that's something the players would want to do as well. So by making that our tool set, it guarantees that the players have those tools available to them as well.
I mean, you guys are doing some really crazy, interesting stuff, trying to, obviously make your own niche in a market that's pretty competitive, with these really interesting takes on some of the tropes. When do you think we're going to be able to get our hands on this?
So we don't know the exact dates yet, obviously. The cone of uncertainty is still pretty large at this point. We're still early on. We're in pre-production, pre-alpha for sure. And so at this point, it's hard to identify exact dates that things are going to be available. What we can say is that it's largely based on our Kickstarter. We have a Kickstarter coming up on May 3rd, which the funding for that is obviously going to help dictate the schedule a little bit based on how many resources we can get. Assuming all goes well, we'd like to see the launch of the game, best case scenario, like Q4 of 2017. But again, it's too early for us to say for sure if that's going to happen, and we wouldn't want to, at this point, tie us down to a specific date just yet. But within the next 3 to 6 months, our cone of uncertainty is going to get radically smaller, and we'll obviously be more confident about what the end date's going to be.
All right, Jeremy, thanks so much. Lorehounds, Chronicles of Elyria, doing some interesting stuff for sure. Can't wait to see how it pans out.
Yeah,
thanks so much.
Yeah.